when you talk to investors, is the first question they ask you about your strategy and what you're going to be doing and where you're going to be investing money, or is it concerns about what is happening politically in Italy?
Well, I think first will be about strategy, and they try to understand what is our strategy and the feasibility of the plan that, for instance, we have just submitted to the market yesterday. We have submitted a plan of 5 years business plan with €5 billion investment on infrastructure in Italy, and I think it has been accepted under this perspective quite well. What we faced is probably the market was looking for more remuneration, dividend return, probably, as you said, to balance a little bit a potential risk of the execution of this plan.
OK, we'll come back to the execution risk in a moment to talk a little bit more about Italian politics then. But first of all, can you just give us some detail about this switch to cleaner energy sources? Can you give us some specifics about kind of how this plan is actually going to work?
You know, we are in the middle of a continuous energy transformation, and Italy in particular has grown quickly at this regard. Just to give you an example, in 5 years' time, we have moved from about 700 points of injection of electricity, so power plant, big power plants, to something close to 700,000. So the complexity has increased dramatically because we have increased the number of solar photovoltaic fields, wind power plants. So you need to manage this new complexity coming into the grid. We have been investing in renewables, but we have to fill the gap when it comes to the infrastructure and to the grid in particular, because the way the grid has to function today is different than in the past.
Yep.
That's why we are here with €5 billion investment to fill the gap with regards to what happened, and also to face new challenges which are coming out in the current years and in the coming years. If you just make reference to a report of the International Energy Agency, they foresee in the next 8 years, on a worldwide basis, something close to 6,700 billion of investment in energy, both renewables and grids. And just to make it simple, €1 in renewable investment implies €1 in grids investment. Okay. That's why we are there to invest, and in particular in Italy, which has been affected by these major changes. We are the second country in Europe in terms of energy producer with renewable sources.
Luigi, I want to get back to the political issue, because some of your investors, including BlackRock, are concerned that Italy's political landscape is forcing a discount on your stock and stocks of other companies traded there. Are you concerned about that?
But, you know, if I look at the economic fundamentals, I think that Italy looks good. So we see growth in the GDP. We see growth, for instance, in the electrical consumption, which I followed more directly. When it comes to the political side, I think that we need to wait a while before having a government, but I'm confident that it is going to take place. And anyway, by the way, I don't think Italy is the only one facing such a long period of negotiating before having a government at the end.
It's true, although Germany, I think we could all agree, politically is a very different story than Italy, certainly historically, but also in terms of how far apart people are in the government. The wranglings to elect a new Speaker of the House in Italy start today. That could drag on for weeks, but even with a conclusion, there's still not a lot of stability in the Italian government. That creates uncertainty. How do you deal with that?
But, you know, if we look at the economy, as I said, it looks that it's not very much affected by what is going on the politics side. So the economy is getting more stable, and I think that we are in some way used to deal with a certain political instability. But anyway, I think that in the end, pretty shortly, in the next months, a solution will be found, and there will be a balance between the different parties to have a government, because we have a strict agenda to fill.
But your sense is that investors are going to want something to compensate them for the political risk that they may have to face in the near term?
It depends how long it's going to last. As of today, if I look at the spread, it doesn't seem to be too much under pressure because probably of also Mr. Draghi action.
I was about to say, BTPs have tightened up, not gone the other way, which is interesting. But as you say, that could be Mr. Draghi.
Well, I mean, it depends how long it lasts. That's probably, if it's going to last too long, then we might have some implication on the spread, as we saw in the past, by the way.
Just going back to kind of Italy's place in the energy grid from a European perspective, you sit in some ways in a nice geographical position. You've got the kind of the Mediterranean story, which is going to bring energy in. How does that develop? Plus, you've got the option of kind of tapping that energy in and sending it to Central and Eastern Europe. So kind of how do you make full advantage of that? How do you link what you're doing in Italy into the wider picture?
Well, I used to define Italy as a sort of Mediterranean energy hub. And in some way, we are at the center of the Mediterranean. We are one of the most interconnected countries with the rest of Europe. We have something close to 25 lines already interconnecting Italy with France, with Switzerland, then beyond Switzerland to Germany. So we are fully connected with the north part of Europe. We are in the middle of the Mediterranean. We are connecting with the Balkans through the Montenegro. We are finalizing a project next year. And we have in the pipeline a project to connect Italy with Tunisia. So we are definitely an hub, and this is an advantage because you can cross-fertilize on the different generation sources. If
you were talking to Jean-Claude Juncker and you were looking at how he could invest money, how high up on that list would DC grids be?
You know, if I look, for instance, at the project of common interest, which has been fixed by the European Union, and we are talking about something close to 150 billion euro, out of which 70 billion is related to the interconnection. Italy is there with something 7, 8 projects already included in the list. So there is definitely an interest at European level for Italy to be one of the key players in the Mediterranean area and to interconnect also the North Africa part in the future.